Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, May the 5th, 2020. It is currently 11:50 a.m. Central Time. And yes, I'm still here at Victory Baptist Church. I'm still here, still ready to talk, still want to talk. However, I'm a little overwhelmed of all the things that I want to talk about. I feel that I need to talk about. We started off today right. We started off with a devotional study of Titus 2:11. That was good. Then I switched over to the Bible Institute podcast, did almost an hour of teaching on Genesis chapter 1. We started our journey through the entire Bible. You can listen to that at the VBC Bible Institute. And then I was like, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? And I'm like, well, I need to return back to our study on Christians and culture. All right. In fact, if you go back and look, I've got to pull everything up here. If you go back, we've done the church and culture, part 1, part 2, and part 3. All right, so we've got the church and culture, part 1, part 2, and part 3. In the midst of that, I did a message called Netflix and Christians. All right, and now we're doing Christians, culture, and Netflix. And so this kind of goes along with the church and culture. The reason I separated some of these others away from the church and culture part 1 and part 2 and part 3 is part 1, part 2, and part 3. We're working through an article in regards to this subject where they kind of outline the different views that Christians have when it comes to culture. So I'm trying to keep those episodes dedicated to working through that article, analyzing it, talking about it, and raising lots of questions. However, once you start talking about if you are listening to me and you claim to be a Christian, you as a Christian, we've got scripture that kind of tells us how we're to try to live, right? It tells us how we are to live in this world. And we know that it's very difficult sometimes to take those scriptures and say, what does that look like? For example, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world, because all that is in the world is the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life, right? Don't love the world. A friendship with the world is enmity with God, right? We're over and over. Do not love the world. This world is not your home. You are a pilgrim here. All the different passages. In fact, I'll give you two. I'll just give you two right here. I'll give you two. Let's just go to, we'll go to 1 Peter chapter 1. All right, 1 Peter chapter 1. Please note, we'll just start with a very important one. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 14. All right, 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 14. As obedient children, speaking to Christians, so we're to be obedient children, not fashioning ourselves according to the former lust in your ignorance. We're not to fashion ourselves. We're not to live in accordance with the former lust that we lived in our ignorance. We are not to do that. But as he, speaking of God, which called you is holy, ye be holy in all manner of conversation. You be holy in all manner of your life. What does it mean to be holy in all aspects of your life? In all aspects of your life. That is what you are called to do. Now you know it and I know it. We're going to fall short of that. And that's why Jesus came, and that's why salvation has to be by grace alone, through faith alone, because we would never even meet this requirement. We would fall short of this 9,000 times, right? So, but we're still called to be holy. We're still called to be holy. And if we jump over, that's 1 Peter chapter 1, that's verse 14 and 15. If we jump over to chapter 2, we read this, 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9, but ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation, a peculiar people, right? There's to be something different about us, right? That ye should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. So that we are to live differently. We're to show forth something. We're to show forth a life that brings praise to him. All right, we're to show forth the praises of him. Look at verse 10, which in time past were not a people, but are now the people of God, which had not obtained mercy, but have obtained mercy. Then we read this, dearly beloved, I beseech you as strangers, pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lust, which war against the soul, having your conversation honest among the Gentiles. And so you get the idea. We are pilgrims and strangers. We are to abstain from fleshly lust. All right? There's a lot right there that we could talk about. Then in John chapter 17, we read this, Jesus praying, John chapter 17, verse 15. I pray not that thou shouldest take them out of the world, but that thou should keep them from the evil. They are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. Sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. So Jesus doesn't pray to remove his disciples from the world. No, but to keep us from the evil in it. So we're not of it, but we're not in it. We're not of it, but we're not to be partakers of the evil in it. Right? So but we're not to love the world. Right? We're not to be of the world. And he prays that we would be sanctified, set apart. And how are we set apart? From the word of God. So what does that look like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Again, what does that look like? Be holy. Okay. Do not fashion yourself after the form or lust. Right? You're strangers. You're pilgrims. Right? Show forth his praise and darkness. I can go through all of the verbiage there in 1 Peter chapter 1 and 1 Peter chapter 2 and in John chapter 17. Hey, don't take them out of the world, but keep them from the evil in it. They're not of the world. We're not to be of the world. So what does it mean not to be of it, but not to be in it? What does it mean not to be of it, but yet in it, but kept from the evil in it? What does it mean to be sanctified by God's word, set apart, while you're still living in the world? These are questions that have plagued 2,000 years of church history. And so there's nothing I am discussing here that's going to all of a sudden give you a revelation going, oh, now I have it figured out, because I don't have it figured out. But what I want you to do is embrace the struggle. You're a Christian, I'm a Christian. And if all Christians are like, I'm trying to live out my Christian life as I live in this world to the best of my ability, understand that we're all going to struggle. We're all going to struggle about it. And I've given illustrations of how it works. Christians are very inconsistent. We've talked about the different views that Christians have on this. There's no agreement on this. And there's great struggle. What should you watch? What can you watch? What is right to watch? What can you listen to? What is right to listen to? What shouldn't you listen to? How should you dress? Where should you go? What can you participate in? Where can you go if your office is holding some function and they're encouraging everyone to go, but it's just going to turn into a drunken night of, a drunken wild party, and you decide not to go? Should you not go? Should you go? Is it wrong to go? Is it right to go? If you don't go, you could hurt your possibly how people perceive you in the workplace, and that could hinder your career. Should you go? If you go, are you violating Scripture? Well, if you're there, but you're not partaking in it, is that okay? Are you showing that you agree with it? Like, how do you answer all of these questions? Now, I think there comes a point in every Christian's life that they just kind of come up with a system that they feel comfortable with, and that's the system they go along with. And they determine this is good and this is bad. They determine you can't watch that, but you can watch this. And then what they have a tendency to do is anyone who doesn't go with what they have determined, then they question those other people. They're not as spiritual. They don't love God. They don't love the Scripture. I don't even know if they're saved. And you see this. You'll get a group of Christians together who believe that Harry Potter is of Satan, and any Christians who watch Harry Potter, they're spiritually suspect, they're worldly, they're ungodly, and I don't want my kids hanging out with their kids. And just throw out whatever controversy is at that time. You'll have some Christians that don't own a TV. Any Christians who do own a TV are ungodly and worldly. And you get this happening but it's everyone trying to figure this out. So I want to make sure, the reason I'm so overemphasizing this for the introduction here is because I want every Christian to realize this is not theoretical. This has to get from theory to practice. And so what we're going to do in this episode is we're going to listen to some Christians, sounds like a husband and wife, that I heard on Christian radio, dealing with, something related to the culture. And it's going to go to the TV. It's going to go to what you watch on TV. And this is a common, a common issue among some Christians. Christians are always trying to figure out, so what can you watch? What can't you watch? When are you godly? When are you ungodly? And consistency in this area is sometimes a joke, because Christians will have one standard for music, another standard for movies and TV shows, which I've never quite understood. Like some music, all secular music is bad. But then they'll watch secular movies and TV. And you're like, wait a minute, that's not right. Well, all secular music that has obscenity is wrong. But they'll watch secular movies that has obscenity. And I'm like, I've never quite figured that out. And sometimes what drives me crazy is it's parents emphasizing one rule on music that they don't apply the same concept and the same standard to the television they watch. But here's the thing. Those parents have no desire to listen to music. So they throw that standard and then place that upon their kids while they sit in the living room watching whatever they want on television. Yeah, that's not the way you live out your Christian life, okay? That, hey, I don't want to do that, so I'm going to have a higher standard for the things I don't want to do, and I'm going to have a lower standard for the things that I want to do. That is the most insane thing I've ever seen, but it happens all the time. And typically that's why so many Christians go after music, because they don't really desire to listen to music. They're not music fans. They don't care. They're more than happy to listen to some, just throw some kind of Christian something on, whether they think it's good or not. It's just background music. They don't care. But their form of entertainment, their activities, you don't dare mess with them because they're godly. Talked about it before. I was in situations where there were rules placed on me by the churches that I attended of all the music. I could not listen to this, 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 ungodly. But man, if I wanted to sit at home on a Saturday and wake up at, 10 a.m. and spend from 10 a.m. to 10 o'clock at night watching college football, boom, I was okay. I was godly. Couldn't listen to secular music, but I could watch football all day. And you're just kind of going, wait, who come up with these rules? How does these rules get made? But what I want you to see is it's Christians trying to figure this out. So let's listen to what some Christians on Christian radio tried to figure out. And their issue that they wanted to talk about was Netflix. Netflix. And they're upset because of Netflix and some of their programs that are quote unquote marketed towards the teen audience. Or I guess on Netflix, there's a section, labeled teens. And there's programs in that section labeled teen that I guess they're arguing isn't suitable for teens, or the rating would identify or indicate that it's not suitable for teens because it's rated TV mature. And teenagers shouldn't be watching TV mature. So they're arguing these programs should not be in the teen section. I guess if they move it to a different section, then it would be okay. I guess. I don't know. You'll hear them. The reason I'm playing this is not to criticize them. I'll make this very clear. I am playing this because it shows you how this is a daily conversation within the Christian world. Daily, they're trying to figure out what you should do and what you shouldn't do, when you should watch it. Condemning some media gets condemned, while some media gets praised. Some TV shows get thumbs up. Some TV shows get the thumb down. And look, we live in a day and age where more media is available to us than at any time in history. There is no end to what you can watch and what you can listen to and what you can read. Just take books, just take music, and just take movies and TV shows. You can never consume now what is available to you. Never. It's impossible. Used to, if for the older people can remember, if you wanted to watch TV, you watch what came on, and you could try to throw in a VCR tape and record it, but you were still limited in how much was going to be available to you, right? It was still limited, and you had a limited number of channels. Then more channels came available. Well, now there was all this content, but you really couldn't watch it all, because you didn't have any way to try to watch it. So you would try to record it on VCR tapes, still limited. Then, of course, you had the movie stores where you could go rent a movie, but you had to go rent it. You couldn't rent everything, right? Because you'd have to rent it, then bring it home. You got to take it back to the store. You don't want to get the late fee. There were all these things that kind of prohibited money, how much you could watch, how you can make sure you can watch it if you missed it when it came on live. All of that's been removed. Now, for a simple subscription fee of a monthly fee, $9, $10, $12, $15, whatever, service you want to use, you now have access to thousands of hours. You don't have to put it back in the case and take it back to a store. You're not going to get charged a late fee. You don't have to worry about trying to record it. It's available to you. You just turn on your streaming device and hit play, and you can spend countless hours. So now it's not even an issue of the content and whether you say the content should or shouldn't be viewed by Christians. The issue now is simple idolatry, that it takes up all of your time in your life. And that now it's not Scripture, it's not God that's your God. It's books that are your God. It's movies, it's TV shows, it's music. We have so much available that it's hard to even comprehend anymore. So there's so many issues about, again, how we relate to culture. So we're going to listen to them. I know I've spent, 15 minutes going over this? Yeah, almost 16 minutes. So we're just going to jump in. There's no way we're going to finish this, but we'll see how far we can go. I'm going to try to let them do a lot of the talking. I will jump in because we're going to analyze their approach to this, to culture in light of their issue with Netflix, right? So we're going to hear their approach to culture, right? And see if you can identify. Now, we've only identified a couple of views so far in our other series, but we'll try to identify their perspective, all right? And try to see. And you may think that their perspective is right, my perspective is wrong, and you have the right to be wrong. I mean, if you think my perspective is wrong, clearly you're wrong, because clearly I've got this whole Christians and culture thing figured out. Obviously I don't have it figured out either. We're all trying to figure it out. All right, so let's listen. This aired on American Family Radio, last week? I don't even remember when it was, but you're going to get to hear some of it, and we'll talk about it. Here we go.
Let me say this. As followers of the Lord Jesus Christ, we've got to be careful and make sure that in everything, man, we are trying to get as close to what the Word says as possible.
And we got to understand that with that type of wickedness, man, God does not wink at that. There's judgment.
Promoting truth, wisdom, and empowerment.
And you don't have shades of truth. You have truth or you have error. You have fact or you have fiction.
And now we go into the thick of it.
Aaron Addison's.
On American Family Radio, thank you for joining us today. I'm Miki.
And I'm Will.
Topic of the program. Oh, and shout out to Marty, who is over in Studio CC, going to open the phone lines up in the last segment and get your take on some of the topics that we cover. I have a few that I want to kind of just touch on, and then where I want to spend the bulk of the time is looking at some new information out from the Parents Television Council that is exposing the great problem with Netflix. A lot of us are, all settled in for long winter's nap kind of a thing, I don't know. And so we have seen a spike in streaming and online viewing, and this was expected, but it is even higher than what was originally expected. Nielsen Ratings, who tracks viewing habits and streaming and all of that, and their business has gone through several changes. I mean, the way people watch television, right? So it's not just television, but it's streaming. And it's doing that from anywhere. It's not just in one central location. It's all over the place. It's in the palm of your hands, right? And well, Nielsen was expecting there to be a spike in the amount of streaming and TV viewing in the month of March, but they originally expected like a 60% increase. But as it turns out, there's been like an 85% increase in the month of.
Now, this would be an interesting study. In the lives of Christians, right? In the lives of Christians during the COVID-19 pandemic, what increased more? Sermon listening, Bible study, Bible reading, or television, or reading novels? Which increased? Did they say, hey, I'm going to have some more time. I'm going to have some different time on my hands where I can't go here and I can't go there. These other things that distracted me, these other responsibilities are going to be gone. And I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to take this time and I'm going to read my Bible more. I'm going to study my Bible more. I'm going to listen to this and I'm going to listen to this and I'm going to read some systematic theologies and some catechisms and some confessions of faith. I want some church history books. I wonder what increased more in the life of Christians. And the life of Christians, not the world, right? Not the world. But I bet you that 85% increase in streaming or whatever she just said, the number she just gave, I'm telling you, I bet you that is just as accurate and true in Christian homes as it was in non-Christian homes. So before we even get into an argument about what you should watch and how Christians should approach certain, forms of entertainment, trying to determine what is right and what is wrong, shouldn't we first address the issue? What is our who is our God? Who is our God? Is it our Kindle? Is it Netflix? HBO Now? Cinemax, Stars? I mean, name all the different premium streaming services that you can get now. What is it? Now, is it Twitter? Is it Facebook? I mean, I'm not just going to pick on is it music? I always have to throw in music because of me. That's my issue. Music is my issue. I just wonder. And you look at your own life. And during this time now, and look, it's gone now. Like things are starting to reopen. So for some people, you're getting ready to get back to your normal routine. And if you had a month and you wasted it with doing everything else, then that indicated to you your heart, your spirit, that your heart was focused on the things of God. So I would be like, they're going to focus on Netflix doing this and doing that. I would have used that time, go, hey, this increase, I wonder if this increase was in Christian homes. I bet you Christian homes saw the same increase and the same placing all of these other things before time with God. They didn't. I guarantee you, many Christians did not use this as an opportunity for their spiritual life and their spiritual growth. While they'll run around saying the world needs to repent and we need to turn our focus on God, while you were turning your focus on everything but God, yet claiming to tell the world that this is a time that they need to be focused on God. Now, this is the time the church needed to be focused on God. This is the time the church needed to say, let's pray. Did you pray more? Did you pray for the world more? Did you pray for political leaders more? I would be interested. What increased in the life of Christians? What increase? There's already numbers to show podcasting is down. Podcasting decreased dramatically during the COVID-19 situation. Those numbers are out. And I bet you that includes Christian podcasting. I would say my numbers, hard to tell. It's hard to tell. I've definitely had increases, but sometimes I've had decreases. It's kind of fluctuated. It's not definitely been the norm. Because many Christians will listen to a podcast on the way to work. But if they're not going to work, then they're not going to listen to a Christian podcast. So what are they doing? Now, maybe they're sitting there reading their Bible and praying. So I think the issue first and foremost when it comes to Christians and culture is the issue of idolatry, the issue of God being first. That's whether we get into an argument about what you should or shouldn't see, shouldn't watch, and your engagement with it, first we just have to deal with idolatry. Idolatry is clearly condemned in the Bible. Don't put anything before God. All right, so I think the numbers increasing are interesting. I just think it's true of Christian homes as well. All right, let's continue.
March for viewing. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. But Parents Television Council took a look at what our kids and specifically our teenagers are viewing. And it's very concerning based on the way Netflix, and it's no surprise to us that Netflix doesn't care about our kids.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's not
surprising
that's not
at
a
all.
surprise. If you keep up with the American Family Association, we know what you're doing over there, Hastings. We know that you don't care about our kids and you don't care about their innocence.
It's not Netflix and chill.
Now stop right there. They don't care about their innocence. No, we'll slow down. Okay, there's no one innocent. Okay, there is none that doeth good. There is no, not one. We have all gone astray. We are all guilty. We're all sinners. Right? So it's not Netflix cares about the innocence of your child. Your child is a depraved sinner. So let's get the Christian theology right. Before we want to start pointing fingers at Netflix, let's get the Christian theology right. They're not innocent. Okay? Now you may want to say from a humanistic perspective, but even from a humanistic perspective, say they're innocent all they want. And guess what? You can say they're innocent. Okay? From a worldly perspective, Cain was innocent, right? He had never seen Netflix. He had never heard rock and roll. He'd never heard rap. He'd never seen pornography. Name all the things. He never played a violent video game, and he still ended his brother. He still ended his brother. He still killed his brother. You know why? Because he was a depraved sinner because of the fall. All right? So it's just, man, I sometimes Christians use terminology that's so theologically incorrect. There's no innocent people. We're all guilty before God in action, and we're guilty in Adam, and we can go on and on. We're not innocent. Now, if you're going to speak of innocence in a different way, then you got to clarify it, but we got to be very careful with that language. And again, we know what you're doing over there. We know what Netflix doesn't care about our kids. No surprise, Netflix doesn't care about our kids. They're a streaming service. Are they supposed to sit there going, we have to care about the kids of America? They're there to provide. Look, people make movies and TV shows, right? They then make them available to Netflix. Netflix then places them on the platform, and then you choose what you want to see, what you want to watch. Are they sitting there okay, well, this group says that program is not good, so we shouldn't. Well, that atheist, think about it from this perspective. Netflix could show a Christian movie, right? They've shown religious movies, right? They've been available on the platform. An atheist could see that and go, I don't want my kids seeing that nonsense. Brainwash them about a God who sends people to hell and heaven and brainwash them. An atheist may perceive that Netflix doesn't care about their kids because they put religious shows on. So whose perspective do you want Netflix to adopt about caring about kids? Your perspective? The atheist perspective? The Muslim perspective? Whose? Right? Not everyone has the same perspective. There's going to be shows that they think may not be suitable for a parent or for a child or for a teenager. And there'll be another parent who wants to watch that show with their teenager and thinks that even though it may be uncomfortable, they want to watch it and deal with the issues together. And they think, therefore, it's appropriate and beneficial. Who are you to say? It's the American Family Association that gets to determine what's best and right for America's kids. Is that the way it works? See, I just, again, it's not Netflix's responsibility. It's not Netflix's responsibility. And sometimes parents are like, I wish they would do their job. It's not their job. They didn't have your kids, right? It becomes our job. Now, they can make it more difficult on us, yes. But that's the thing about being a parent. What parents want is someone to babysit their kids for them where they don't have to go, oh, what are you watching? Let's watch it together. Let's talk about it. Okay, no. I don't want to have to do all of that. I just want someone to take care of it all for me. Well, that's the role of being a parent. It's hard work. It is. It's hard work. It's not easy. And we make a million mistakes. But I just don't like this idea. Netflix, they don't care about your kids. Netflix doesn't care at all about your kids. What? Okay. There's a conspiracy. They're trying to get your kids. They're trying to destroy your kids. They're trying to corrupt your kids. That's their goal. They sit in a boardroom going, how can we destroy the innocence of children? Okay. It's like, it doesn't quite work that way. All right, here we go.
Something like that he used to say. You can't chill.
It's Netflix and expose.
Yeah,
and
expose.
in fact, that's the topic for today's show.
Right.
Netflix and expose.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. And we're going to get into some of that information, just talking about why parents need to be concerned. Again, we are constantly calling on parents to be vigilant and to protect their children. Now, we can do both of these things. We can protect our own families, protect our own homes, hopefully doing the jobs that we have been installed to do, right, on our own home front. And then also look out for our brothers and sisters in the Lord who, maybe they don't get exposed to this information. Maybe they don't know that this is going on. So we can share it and we can apply pressure to these companies like Netflix. They're not the only streaming service, but certainly they are the largest. And in the month of March, they had the highest share of the amount of content being viewed by teenagers. But one of the things, just to kind of whet your appetite for what this discussion will entail, one of the things.
Did you hear that? Put pressure on these companies. Put pressure on this is the stuff that drives me crazy about the Christian mentality. We're going to make you do what we want. No, I don't want you to put pressure on them. Okay? No. I want them to have the freedom as a company to put out whatever they want. And then I want the freedom to decide if I want to watch it, if I don't want to watch it. If I want to record and criticize it, if I want to record and praise it. I want freedom. The freedom, if you want to control what Netflix does, do you want someone to control what American Family Radio does? If you want to control what Netflix does, do you want someone controlling what Christian podcasters can talk about? Now, if they come after a Christian podcaster, and they come after us because we say we speak against homosexuality, or we argue against transgenderism and all of these other cultural issues, and they come after us, we're like, we're being persecuted. How dare you tell me what to say? I have the freedom of religion. I have the freedom of speech. But then we're like, we're going to put pressure on Netflix. We're going to put pressure. Now, typically, American Family Radio, when they want to put pressure on someone, they do the old-fashioned, let's boycott them. Let's boycott them. Hurt them financially until they give us what we want. Until they conform to our image, to our understanding. Now, this goes to that whole reclaiming and redeeming culture, usually by some kind of force. Go listen to my mini-series on the church and culture. That's one of the views. That's the last one we talked about that we were going to talk about again today. You're hearing that view. We're going to redeem culture by force. We're going to make everyone live like Christians, act like Christians, do what Christians want. But you're not changing the heart of anyone that way. You're just going to create a cultural war. Man, I don't get it. No one forces you to watch Netflix. No one. And typically, Netflix, I could log into my Netflix account probably here. And look, most of them have parental controls that you can block anything TV mature. Just do that. I'm like, well, my kids will find a way around the block. Well, okay, that's going to lead to the issue that I'm going to have the biggest issue with. That's why we have to do more than trying to keep everything from our kids. And at some point, you've got to teach your children how to analyze and handle what they see, process what they see. Understand, hey, what you see is a story. It promotes ideas and actions. It shows actions and ideas that you need to think about. Should I think this way? Is this the right way to think? Teach them how to analyze and process, not to sit there as a mindless person drooling on themselves, just allowing the images to come into their brain. That's where Christian parents fail. They don't actually teach their kids how to actually process what they see. They just try to keep them from seeing anything that goes against what the parent wants them to see. Well, you can only do that for so long. Did you give them the tools to oh, wait, that show was, the message of that show, wow. Okay, here's the story. Here's the characters. Here's the main characters. Protagonist, antagonist. Okay, here's the story arc. Okay, here's what happened. Okay, all the different ways helping them understand how to understand the narrative, understand the way the plot developed, understand character development, understand motivations, why they did this, what they did this, and then offering some kind of analyzing what the message was. Was the message positive? Was the message negative? Was the message a Christian one or not a Christian one? Was it materialistic? Was it humanistic? What was it promoting? A show can show bad stuff, but the overall message can then condemn the bad that was done in the show. Just because bad is shown doesn't mean the show is promoting the bad. The Bible gives us the account of David doing some really messed up stuff, but we don't read it. At the end of the story, we don't go, well, the Bible was telling me to do that. No, it was giving you an account of what occurred, and then you make a moral judgment based off other scripture. Well, a movie may show you all kinds of bad stuff, but the overall conclusion of the movie may be condemning said bad stuff, or it may not be. But you got to give your kids the skills to do that. All right? But we have to apply force. Or apply pressure, I think is their word. Apply pressure. Yeah, to get Netflix to do what we want. And I just don't, why do Christians think we have the right to tell everyone what to do? I don't get it. It's like Christians on one hand walk around, libertarian free will. Now we're going to go after your free will to bind it, to make it bow to us. I don't get it. I sometimes am perplexed. But this is Christians and culture. We want a Christian culture, and we're going to get a Christian culture, we think. That's not a Christian culture by making people abide by some kind of standard of morality that you agree with, because that doesn't change the heart. Christianity is not a standard of morality. It's being saved by faith and placing our faith in Jesus Christ and being born again. Christianity is not just a moral standard. Okay, so all right, here we go.
That the Parents Television Council found in looking at the way the content is rated for teenagers is that consistently and overwhelmingly teenagers, and it's rated for teens, but it is the type of content that is for both a mature audience, or because Netflix has a combination of like TV shows that they do, but they also have they also have movies, right?
Yeah.
So they use the Motion Picture Association's ratings for their movies, even their own original content movies. They use that, the MPA rating, but then they also use television ratings for things that are shorter form, right? So you're familiar with this. It's like TV PG, TV PG-13, I think, or maybe PG-13, I think is movies.
Right.
But TV mature.
Yeah.
TV, I have the ratings here in front of me. We'll get into the details of that. TV 14. But what they found, and this is incredible, is that what falls consistently under the category of teen viewing is the type of stuff that is TV mature. Or if you're looking at it in movie form, it would be rated R. And teenagers are Netflixing, if you will, and not chilling. They're being exposed. And again, and this is, man, there's so many different battles that we have to fight. And we wonder why sometimes we look at our kids and they look back at us and we don't recognize them. And we say, man, I'm not raising you to be like that, and it's such a shock. But respectfully, I think the question has to be, and again, understandably, this is a unique situation that we're in. So we're kind of looking at increased viewing. But I think on a regular basis, parents have to take some inventory and say, man, how much are my kids watching?
And I would bet that it's pretty high on a normal basis. I think they were looking for
the studies show
a spike because of what's going on. But I think in the normal sequence of events, of life, that it would be pretty high even then. So
yeah, that's got to concern us. Because, and again, not to be sensational here, but
I got to jump in here because I got my Netflix account open. So there's a couple of things I want to go through here. One, that whole, you look at your kid and you're kind of shocked because you're like, that's not the way I raised you. Do you think the way you raised a kid is going to change their depravity? Parenting doesn't fix depravity. Depravity has to be fixed by the gospel. Now, you can try to hold back the depravity. You can try to push it in a certain direction, but you should never be shocked when your child reflects depravity. It's in them. Their heart is desperately wicked and deceitful above all things. It's in them. All right. So let's just get that out of the way. But I want to clarify what they're saying. They're saying there's these shows that are rated teen, but they contain mature content. That is a misrepresentation outright. I have it open. One of the shows that are quote unquote in the teen section is 13 Reasons Why, which currently has 3 seasons. All right. All right. Now this is very important. All right. It's called, 13 Reasons Why. We could talk all about the show, but please note it's in the teen section, but it literally has the rating TV MA. It doesn't have rated teen. No, it's rated TV mature. It's just listed in the teen section. But it is literally rated TV mature. So either one, parents aren't paying attention to the rating. Two, they don't have any controls on their on it. And I believe there's got to be, let me see here. Let me see. I'm going to go to my account. Profile and parental controls. There we go. So I can go into the account and I can block out TV mature content. So what more do you want Netflix to do? What more do you want them to do? They label it TV mature so everyone knows what's in it. Everyone knows what's in it. Then you have parental controls where you can go into the account and block TV mature content. What more do you want? But they're going to pressure Netflix. Pressure them what? What do you want them to do? Come to your house and babysit your kid? So they've already misrepresented. They're not rated TV teen. They are rated TV mature. However, those show up in the teen section. And you may be arguing, well, wait a minute, if in the teen section, it should not be TV mature. Okay, you can make that argument. You can make that argument. I'm throwing my pen now. You can make that argument. But the point is that you've got the controls. I'm looking at them right now on my iPad under my Netflix account. You say, well, man, I don't want my teens to see those shows. All right, well, then you can block them. Now, here's the idea. Just make sure you understand how this works. If it's a show that transcends, in other words, you have a show that can be on Netflix and nobody really talks about, and then you have those shows that really transcend popular culture and everyone's talking about it and teenagers are talking about it. It's all over social media. Listen, those are the times that typically at some point, somehow, your teen's going to end up seeing one. An episode, 2, 3, 4, and sometimes the more you push back, the more they're going to see. Or you can say, hey, are all your friends talking about this show? Oh, they are. Okay, what do you think? Have you wanted to see it? Yeah, I have. Okay, well, maybe we should sit down and watch this together and discuss it and talk about it. Now, that won't be as cool probably for them. It'd probably be cooler if you say no and they can get around go around your back, because that would be cool to help and engage that rebellion. But I just this whole thing is misrepresenting the facts here. They want to put pressure on Netflix. Why don't you put pressure on yourself to go in and simply change the setting? All right. It's not that. I literally just grabbed my iPad, logged into my account, clicked on the little bell thing, brought my account, boom. And within minutes, I've already figured out, I could put rating controls here. Wow. Sometimes. All right, here we go.
When your kids are spending that much time, in some instances, when you talk about 5-6 hours a day, just depending on how it all shakes out, at some point you got to say that entertainment is raising them. And why do I say that? I'm not saying that to kind of go back to we're anti-television. There's that whole thing. And I'm not one of those people. Like, we enjoy entertainment. Of course, we have to be very selective. And our kids here know a lot. And sometimes maybe more than that, they hear we need to check it out first. And that doesn't always get applause, right? I mean, they're like, and
they shouldn't be surprised, but hey.
They shouldn't be surprised.
And I guess they're not, but it's just like,
I think they're always hoping.
Yeah.
I think let's hope.
Yeah.
I think they're always hoping, keep hope alive.
Yeah.
and but it's amazing because kids, they always expect that these entertainers are going to do better. You know what I mean?
And I just want you to know there's no discussion about training the child. Training the child, teaching them how to engage literature and art, how to understand it, how to analyze it, how to process it, how to do something with it. It's just like, no. We have to check it out first. And I understand. I'm not saying there's not a place for that. Please hear me. I'm not saying there's not a place for that. I'm saying with that needs to be the other as well. Hey, that book you're reading. What book are you reading? What book I'll read that book. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Now, what we want to do is we don't want to sit down and read the book. We just want the school not to let them read a book or give them a book to read that we don't agree with. Wait, how about just read the book and teach the kid how to process the book? I go, oh, what's going on here with this character? Okay, the story. See where the storyline is going? What is it promoting? What idea is this promoting? What is this promoting? But no, parents don't want to do any of that responsibility, any of that work. And it drives me crazy. And then they whine and complain about it. No. Okay. All right. We're not going to be able to go much longer, and we just got an update brought into the software I use to go live, and it's telling me I need to restart this software to get the updated version. Hopefully, it doesn't restart on me, but we're going to try to go a little bit longer, and then we'll wrap this up. I think you're getting my main idea here, but you're already kind of hearing their perspective on culture, which is different than my perspective in many ways.
Like even though they understand what's at stake, I think kids are just, I don't know, or maybe they just hope that that'll be the one day that you just don't care.
Man,
they hope that that'll be the one day that you just kind of say, hey, you know what, go ahead.
That goalie.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day. And Lord help us, because sometimes it's tag teaming. It's like, I'm tired of answering this question. You're in. You know what I mean? It's like tag them in. But when your kids are watching, just huge amounts of television, you have to ask yourself a question, and it's a legitimate question. I don't think it's an exaggerated question, but whether or not what they're watching is shaping them. And so then I would say rearing them, training them, teaching them about the world, teaching them how to interact with one another, and, mind you, teaching them how to interact with you, right? So it's not just peer influence, but it's also media influence. And so sometimes we have what I would say, how you were once encouraged when you were a kid to stay away from the riffraff.
Yeah.
Don't keep up with those people. Evil communication corrupts good morals. Flock together, and so be careful who you're flocking with, and all of this. Yeah, we used to hear that all the time. It sounds so old and cantankerous, but it was good. It was good information, right? It was based on scripture. But now I would say, man, we're letting the birds nest right in our house. Like it's not, we bringing them right in and letting our kids kind of follow these new sets of standards that they're unfamiliar to us. So we're going to get into that, but I do have a couple other things that I want to talk about before we spend the bulk of our time looking at that Parents Television Council information that is newly out. So far, over 1.6 million businesses have received forgivable loans from the Paycheck Protection Program. Many of us are familiar. We've been learning so much. It's like everyone has sort of been able to peek behind the curtain of industries that we were not otherwise familiar with, right? So small businesses, we know what kinds of things are going on because of the way people are affected. And according to President Trump,
I'm going to try to jump forward a little bit. This is at the 9-minute mark. Going to jump to the 11-minute, 38-second
mark. Anyway, that's
mark.
some good news coming from the Trump administration. I wanted to share that. Now, here's something else that I hope that I can quickly mention this, and then again get into talking about Netflix. But this is concerning. Now, you remember when I was talking about the reopening of the country and the coronavirus.
Okay, we're at 12 minutes and 3 seconds. Let's jump to 13 minutes and 33 seconds.
Even while I'm mocking myself, my concerns are being realized. Like, this is actually happening. So on April 2nd, there was an individual from upstate New York who was placed in an isolation facility.
All right, they're talking about COVID-19 and what some governors are doing. That's 13 minutes. Let's jump to 14 minutes and 42 seconds.
Our Reynolds, because it's happening, okay? Or it has already happened. Aaron the Addisons, American Family Radio, will pick up with this story and then pick up the pace and move on. You stay close.
In Christ alone, who took on flesh, fullness of God in helpless obey, this gift of love and righteousness,
think this is their intro coming back out of the break. Their bumper music. All right, so I think you're going to play a lot of it.
Jesus died. The wrath of God.
Welcome back to Aaron the Addisons
There we
on
go.
American Family Radio. I'm
I skipped
Miki.
it.
And I'm Will, and that's Anthony Evans in Christ Alone.
As always, maybe you weren't aware of this, but we try to link all of the stories that we discuss in the podcast notes. So if you get the podcast or if you share it, the information is there because, we want to talk about these issues, but we want to also kind of be just a little bit reading rainbow on this. You don't have to take our word for it.
Mm-hmm.
Want you to be able to go and read these news stories for yourself. And maybe you read them and you arrive at a different conclusion than we do. And that is okay. That's good. That's good. That's what we want. We want to make disagreement great again. Like, let's be able to do that. Nobody needs to be afraid to disagree. Will and I don't agree on everything all the time. I mean, and when there's disagreement, he is always wrong. But we've learned to accept that.
At the end of the day, we find out that I'm right.
That you're wrong. Yeah, see, we're just saying the same thing, just like an echo to each other. That's what it's like to become one flesh, just an echo to each other. So welcome back to the program. Again, while I was twisting up my tinfoil hat, somebody else was actually, actualizing my concern, which is that you have a person who, by reason of being suspected of having COVID-19.
All right, they're doing the whole Christian radio COVID-19 discussion. Okay, we won't get into that subject. That's a whole different podcast, okay? I've expressed my feelings on that. So let's try to jump up. Let's go to 17 minutes and 41 seconds.
Your friends probably think you're crazy too. So now you have the support for it. So on April 2nd, an individual from upstate New York was placed in an isolation facility staffed by...
All right, we'll try to get to... I'm trying to find it. It's just funny because this whole episode was supposed to be about Netflix. And they start it, and then they go off in this other direction. We're going to jump up. That's 17 minutes and 52 seconds. We'll jump to 18 minutes.
Now, we'll continue with this, but let me just say this, so there's just so many questions, right?
Yeah.
Like, so your question should be, okay, what were those symptoms?
Yeah, because I'm thinking.
All right, they're still talking COVID-19. Let's jump to 19 minutes.
It was unnecessary to detain them. Now, of course, there may be things I don't.
Still talking COVID-19. Let's go to 21 minutes.
The sheriff's office, which is this. And just listen. And so.
Still talking about COVID. Let's go to 23 minutes.
And again, this is being put together by people within the conservative movement that we trust. Again, let me say, as we are seeing with President Trump, there are still people I think we do not trust who are.
All right. There's still, and again, this is Christian radio, it turns into conservative movement and becomes the political hijacking of the church. Now, dealing with culture. Now, please note, I love the way Christian radio works sometimes. Hey, we got to be worried about Netflix and them corrupting us, and we got to be worried about that and their influence on us. And then they'll sit there and allow political conservatism to influence them. We're Christians. I don't want to be connected with a political ideology of being a political conservative. I'm a Christian. My worldview has to be Christian. My worldview can't be politically conservative. My worldview is Christian. Oh man, that's such a major issue. But sometimes I find it interesting when they're talking about we got to worry about Netflix and them influencing. And then you hear sometimes on Christian radio, and in fact, if you listen to everything they say, you can see the political side that they're coming from. They're being politically influenced. But I guess if it's not on Netflix, it's okay. All right, let's continue. It's just an interesting little thing to notice. But we'll jump forward a little bit more in time and see where they are.
But and you stopped me on this, Will, because here's what I was thinking. I was thinking, does this kind of fall into the category of a violation of a person's Fourth Amendment? Is this?
All right, they're still on that subject. Let's jump to 19 minutes left in the program.
Public health. That you can't
Still
be out
talking
there
about
like
it.
that.
Let's go to 18 minutes left in the program.
Netflix is the most widely streaming platform, right? And so this investigation that they conducted focused on titles that are categorized by Netflix as intended for teenagers. Okay, so they've got two sets of ratings that they use, as I suggested, or as I said in the first segment there. They
All right, so they're picking up the discussion. Now, please note, it's a section, or it's kind of like a genre. I think they're listed as genres. To be fair, I don't even know if they're listed as a section. Let me go back to Netflix, because I want to be fair here, okay? Because Christian radio, I hate to say this, I've said it a million times. I don't trust Christian radio as far as I can throw it. All right, they have a section called Browse, TV shows, genres, and it's a teen genre, okay? So it's a program that they are saying is in the genre of a teen program. Now, what constitutes a teen genre? I would probably argue that the storytelling, right, of the shows, because if you look at some of the shows listed, is that the storytelling involves a lot of teen characters, that the narrative revolves around teens. Teens and they're like in a high school drama, teens and a sci-fi drama, teens and an apocalyptic but it's the focal characters, the main characters are teenagers. I think that's how it's listed as a teen show or teen genre. All right, but they're not rated TV teen. They're rated TV mature, and not all of them, but many of them are. So they're giving you clear information of what it's rated, and then of course you can block that material, that content using your account settings. So just want to make sure that we clearly explain what they're talking about, because I think in many cases they're misrepresenting it a little bit. All right, here we go.
use the Motion Picture Association's movie content rating system, PG, PG-13, R, okay? And then they also use the TV parental guidelines rating system, TV PG, TV 14, TV mature, for what they put in the category of their TV programming. Mm-hmm. Now, according to the Parents Television Council and according to the investigation that they conducted, they found that the Netflix content that targeted teens carries more of a mature content rating while still falling under the teen category.
So you can't trust those ratings?
No, you can't. And when you get into it and you start to think about how this all breaks down, you realize that what our young kids are being exposed to, and, you know, if you say teenager, being a 13-year-old to 17-year-old, okay, they're being exposed to adult content that is being categorized as teen content. So we'll get into the nitty-gritty of that.
It's being characterized as a teen drama. It's being characterized as a show where the main characters are teenagers. That's what it's being characterized as. It's just, here, browse. Okay, you can go browse. Movies, TV shows, genre teen. Go to the teen shows, look at the teen shows. The characters are teenagers. That's what it means. And now look at the rating, TV mature. Okay, here's a teen drama where teens are the centralized characters in the story. They're the focal point, but it's got mature content. There you go. Now you can say, well, because they have teen characters, therefore the show is being pushed on for teenagers. Maybe teenagers will be drawn to it. But a storyteller can use any age character that they want to tell their story. They can use adults, they can use senior citizens, or they can use teenagers. Right? And that's more of the idea of what it means by these shows are teens. Because look at the shows. Go look at them. Look at the section. Hit play and see what you see. Teenagers. Young people. They're the central part of the storytelling. All right? So, all right. Let's go back. They're going to go to the break. They'll come back. I know we're almost at an hour, but we'll try. We've got to finish this. I don't want to make this a part 2. So here we go.
And I have to give you like a little warning, a little disclaimer, because I'll have to share with you just a little bit of what is contained in the content that is targeted at teenagers. And again, if you have parental settings at home for Netflix and you say only allow your kids to watch teen content, what they're actually getting is going to be mature audience content. Wow.
Okay, now. Okay, let's see if this works. I'm gonna, because I am curious. All right, let's see if she's accurate in the way that the controls work. All right, I've never used the controls, so let me go. I want to make sure I've got right information here. Okay, because I don't want to give wrong information. I really don't. I truly don't want to give wrong information. All right, account. All right, here we go. All right. All right, viewing restrictions. I'm going to hit change. All right, I can edit profile maturity rating. All right, hang on. I got to enter my password here. Give me 1 second. My daughter in Massachusetts is going to get really mad at me if I change this and she can't access what she wants to watch. She's going to be mad at me, but okay. All right. Now here are the ratings. Now please note, she said if you go in and allow programming for teenagers, well, they're going to actually be getting mature content, right? That's the way she labeled it. Here is the rate. Here is the system that is actually on Netflix. I've got it open. So, and they could have done the same thing. So when they don't do this, it bothers me because this is just clearly not trying to represent the situation clearly. Here are the restrictions. Are you ready? I can go TVY, suitable for all ages. TVY Y7. TVG, TVG, TVPG, PG, TVPG 13, TV 14, R, TV mature, NC 17. All right, so if I put the restriction at TV 14, if I put it there, then guess what? All the mature content they're not going to see. There is no allow teen content setting. There is no setting that says allow teen content, and then that would give them all of these teen programs. That is a complete misrepresentation. It is complete slander. It is complete lie. If I don't want them to see TV mature, I just simply hit TV mature. And then they won't see all of those teen programs that are rated TV mature. There's nothing on here that says shows that are for teenagers, let them see. And then I'm gonna go set this. And the next thing you know, my kids are watching these TV mature programs. There is nothing like that in Netflix. That is a complete misrepresentation and a complete lie. It's a complete lie on Christian radio. So let me state it again for parents. There are shows that are predominantly focused on teen characters. Those shows are listed under the genre teen. Those programs contain TV mature content. If you don't want them to see TV mature content, go under Netflix, go under your account settings, pick the profile, like if your child has their own profile, go under their profile. I went under my daughter's profile. I can go under my daughter's profile and I can block right now whatever she can watch. And then when she gets ready to go to a program, she's not going to be able to see it if it has TV mature. If I wanted to block her from that, she's grown. I'm not going to do that. All right. Okay. I didn't even do that for teenagers when they were teenagers. And you can argue all day about it. I taught them how to process what they saw. Right. So, man, that's. And then I can even put, don't show specific titles for this profile regardless of maturity ratings. Like if I don't even care about the maturity rating, if I know there's a show that I don't want to see, I can literally go under her profile and list the name of the show that I don't want them to see. That won't even show up. I can just have it completely removed and they won't see it. I can completely change what it looks like when they go into their Netflix profile. So there we have it. All right, let's go back.
And again, this is not surprising to us. We already know that Netflix, they don't really care about your kids. They don't really care about your kids at all. All right, Aaron the Addison's American Family Radio. We'll be right back.
So Netflix doesn't care about their kids. I guess I could ask them, do they care about truth? Ooh. Ooh, do they care about fairly representing Netflix, or just they want to use their microphone to misrepresent and actually confuse people on how it actually works? Hey, if you give a setting that lets your teenagers watch teen programming, they're actually going to get TV mature programming. There is no setting that gives them just teen programming. That setting is not in existence in the profile. And it's said when you have to listen to Christian radio and then correct Christian radio. Speak the truth. Speak the truth. That's what we're supposed to do. Put away lying. Do not misrepresent. But see, now we're not even dealing. Here's what we're doing. We're not even dealing with now how Christians engage culture. No, we are. Some Christians engage culture in a conspiratorial, false way. That is wrong. You can argue all day about what someone should watch in a movie, but before we talk about what you should, I wonder if they are misrepresenting Netflix because they watch some bad television, or because, well, we all have a tendency to be deceptive, or misrepresent, or not do due diligence, whatever the case may be. Right? That's just the whole thing is driving me crazy because this is not a fair representation. I'm trying to finish this. All right, we just got a few minutes. All right, some more of their bumper music. All right. I'm going to redo the volume a little bit. If I move forward, I'm going to jump too far ahead. And because the music could be copyrighted, that's why I'm trying to pull it down. I'm analyzing the program. I'm not analyzing the music. And even analyzing music, you can get in trouble. If you play a song and analyze it, you can still get in trouble.
Americans with access to streaming service. The average person is now streaming. This is in the midst of COVID-19. So, these numbers are higher, but they are still alarming because you're still human. You know what I mean? Like you're not less human or less impacted by what you're feeding yourself because it's COVID-19. Like,
right.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like Cheetos are still Cheetos, like it's not like it's like COVID calories where it doesn't count and we all, it's still the same thing. And so same thing for your spirit, same thing for what you are taking in, what you're viewing, not only that, but what your kids are viewing. So according to 2,000 Americans with access to streaming service, the average person is now streaming 8 hours of content a day. Boy, that's a lot. I mean, just, you just think about that, right? 8 hours of content a day.
Well, they're like, we're not in school, so it works. We just that'll replace it.
You know what I tell the kids sometimes, like I'll say, because I'll have these moments where sometimes there's things going on and I may, like, recently we had a time where I was allowing them to watch more content on the iPad. And like for JD, I was allowing him to play more games, and then it's like, man, Lord help me. Because I say to them, and of course it's a joke, but I say, oh man, I can see your brain turning to mush. I can see your brain turning to mush, and they kind of just like, laugh it off. But it's one of those things where we are still affected by what we consume and how much we consume of it. Right. So
I literally despise that. Your brain turns to mush. Teach them how to engage their brain in what they are watching. Have conversations about it. Analyze it. Plot development, character development, how the story did this. Was there a redemption story in it? Who was the character redeemed? How was the character redeemed? Was it redeemed in a good way or in a bad way? Was it what was the moral story in this? Blah blah. I mean, on and 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 on. Their brains don't turn to mush unless you've taught them to watch entertainment in a mindless way. And if you've taught them to watch entertainment in a mindless way, you violated a biblical principle where you're commanded to take every thought into captivity. Right? Your mind doesn't turn to mush if you're engaging the brain and watching. Oh, okay. Why did the director use that camera angle? What was they trying to demonstrate here? Okay, what did the open scene? Open scene. Okay, that's important. Oh, there's the establishing shot. What does the establishing shot show? What is the opening shot? The first shot of a movie tells you the story, usually of the whole movie, or it gives you the central theme. Stop. hit pause. Okay, what theme is being demonstrated to us? Okay, all right. Okay, let's watch. Okay, well, let's watch. We break the story into 4 acts. All right, we've just finished Act 1 in the movie. Okay, what did Act 1 show us? Okay, what's the moral dilemma being? Is there an ethical dilemma being presented here? What do you think this character is doing? Which character? Why do you think this character is? What's the motivation for this character? I mean, you can go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. You can talk about it like I don't care what movie it is. I don't care what movie it is. You can sit there and process it and think about it. So if their brains are turning to mush, why are they turning to mush? Okay, why? Because we Christians have this entertainment mindless. No. And whenever I say this, people are like, I don't want to do that with my entertainment. I don't want to sit there and do all of that. Then why are you watching it? You're literally then making yourself vulnerable to influence. It's like, here's what people say. I don't care about figuring out the story. I don't care about figuring out the moral. I just want to be entertained. So what you want to do is you want to be influenced and not think about what's influencing you. But if you take every thought into captivity, then you can control the influence. Right? But it's like, I guess some Christians just approach entertainment from a mindless perspective. All right, let's continue.
So anyway, average person streaming 8 hours of content a day and binge watching 3 shows in the past week.
And I bet you many of those homes that are 8 hours a day are Christian homes. I mean, that's the issue here. The issue is not, we don't want to watch that TV mature stuff. See, that's what the issue is becoming. The issue should Christians be watching 8 hours of programs a day or reading books for 5 hours a day? Where's the Bible come in? Where does sermons come in? Where does studying come in? That to me, that's the cultural issue here. It's not the rating. There's other issues in relation to Christians and culture.
Binge watching, that means back to back to back to back to back to back to back. 65% of parents polled admitted that they have allowed their kids to watch more movies and television shows than they normally would. Again, some of this is to be expected. But again, you're still human. And so what you're consuming is still affecting you. It's not, it doesn't just go away. So what did the Parents Television Council find when they looked at Netflix, which, by the way, Netflix has the largest share of streaming at 29% of the video streaming that people are enjoying these days is coming from Netflix. Well, you take a stab at what's number 2? Do you know? Guess.
Amazon?
Netflix is number 1. No, Amazon actually came in 4th.
Okay.
YouTube is number 2.
Yeah, that makes
YouTube
sense.
YouTube is number
that
2.
Makes sense. I should have thought
so
of
now that I say that, you can see
Yeah.
it, right? So
Definitely.
so Netflix is number 1, YouTube number 2, Hulu number 3,
I
and
can see
then
that.
Amazon Prime at the bottom.
Okay.
There with 9% of the content that is being streamed on Amazon Prime. So what Parents Television Council did is they looked at Netflix, since it's the biggest, it's got the largest share of streaming, and they said, okay, so what kind of content are they targeting at teenagers? I'd be curious to see what's going at younger kids, but they were looking at what's going on with teenagers. And so they have this teen designation on Netflix. And as of April 6th, according to this report here, out of more than 3,600 category designations used by Netflix, 23 were identified as teen programming. So it's really interesting. I encourage our listeners, we're going to have a link to this. I want you to go and read the full report. It's very, very interesting because they list the types of shows that are targeted at teens. The types of shows that are targeted at teens. And so just so you know, teen coming of age dramas, romantic teen dramas, teen irreverent comedies, teen irreverent comedies. Okay. And again, everybody's got their little content or whatever. And you say this is good for your family and that's all well and good, but go and look at this report when you get a chance, because you just need to know, what some of these categories are that Netflix is convinced is okay for your teen to consume. All right. So here is what they found.
Do you want Netflix to make a moral decision on what you should or shouldn't see? Do you want that? Hey, I don't think teenagers should see this, so we're not going to look, we don't want adults to see this. Like, I don't know what again, here's what I would do. You can go look at the report, but go log into your Netflix account and look at it for yourself. Is it targeting teens? Is it saying, hey, teenager, you must watch this? Or is it saying, hey, this is a category where these shows have teen are dealing with teen characters, and here's the rating for it. All right, it would be interesting because I'm not a teenager by any means, and I will get email going, Stranger Things. I think Stranger Things is listed as a teen drama because I think it centers around young people. I'll get a new season of we've just added a new season of a show we think you will like, and I'll get Stranger Things. I'm not a teenager, so are they targeting me? Are they targeting me? I mean, how are they targeting you? All right, let's finish.
The content ratings show by far the most frequent age-based rating for what Netflix calls teen programming was teen mature, meaning only suitable for a mature audience. By far, that's the type of content that comes up under the so-called teen rating.
Wow.
One of the things that parents need to understand is that for TV mature,
they said teen rating again. I'm not, there's not a teen rating. TV 14 could be a teen rating. Okay, but the programs that they're going to mention are not in the TV rating. I don't understand what they're talking about. I don't understand what there's a TV mature, there's a TV, there's R, there's all these ratings. There's not one that says, hey, teenagers, you can watch this. No, TV 14 would be as close to that as possible. All right? And most of those in the teen section are not TV 14. I don't even think Stranger Things is TV 14. I don't even think Stranger Things is TV 14. I don't believe so. Let me look here. Hang on. Let me go to browse. Go to TV shows. Go to genres. Go to teen. What is Stranger Things? Here's Stranger Things. Stranger Things is TV 14. Stranger Things is TV 14. So there you go. TV 14. Is that what you're referring to? Well, guess what? Those other shows that'll have all the bad stuff, they're not given a TV 14 rating. So why do you keep saying a teen rating? They don't have a teen rating. They're listed as teen genre. It's a genre. Wow. It's crazy that I'm having to explain this.
and you've got kids who are 17 and under, I guess most parents would say 13 to 17, who are consuming this content, that means it includes crude, indecent language. That means it includes explicit sexual activity. It includes graphic violence. Now, the Parents Television Council goes a little bit further, and with the use of VidAngel, they actually screened the content to find out the types of words that are being used in some of this content. And so I'll give a disclaimer, because even though I say this word, it is still offensive, But again, and so if you want to hear that, or if you got kids listening, you don't want your kids to hear that, totally understand. You probably don't want to listen to this portion of it, and you just want to go read the rest. So I want to give you the time to be able to go do that. So here we go. Most of the teen content is rated TV mature. Most of the verbiage or the words that are used in what is called teen content on Netflix involves the use of the F word and the S word and intense sexual content.
Wow. So
if you think about what this means, and the most popular TV show on Netflix, or the most popular series on Netflix, is a series called Stranger Things. Stranger Things. You may have heard of it. Heard of this series, Stranger Things. I've not seen it, but I have heard of it. It uses the S word some 257 times across 3 seasons. So that's an average of 10 uses of this word per episode. 10 uses of this word per episode, right? According to Netflix, every single program that Netflix has that's rated TV 14 has multiple uses of the S word, where it's just thrown out, okay? Almost every Netflix original program rated as appropriate for teens had at least one use of the F word.
Wow.
Only one show didn't. So when they say almost every, it is almost every, with the exception of one show. Let me read that to you again. almost every Netflix original program rated as appropriate for teens had at least one use of the F word in it.
All right, now, here's the thing. Okay, now here's the thing. Now this gets us to really the crux of the matter, okay? Now, this is the relationship between Christian and culture. All right, so should a Christian, now let me ask, is it wrong for a 15-year-old to watch a show that uses the F word? But is it right for a 24-year-old to watch a show with the F word? Is it morally right or morally wrong, dependent on age? Or can you teach your 14 or 15-year-old, hey, you see in that book, hey, Tom Sawyer, Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, a lot of other classic literature that refers to blacks with a certain word, okay, that starts with an N. Is it wrong for them to hear that word, which I believe is, a wrong word and immoral, and I hate the word, despise the word. But is it okay to say, read the book, but understand this word is being used, but we don't use that word? We believe that word is immoral to be used, and it is wrong because it is degrading, and it's a bad word to refer to someone. It's not a term of endearment. It's a bad word. It's used in a bad way. It's referring to these people as almost secondary, less than, right? This is a derogatory term, and you could go to the history of the term, and you go on and on and on. Now, you can talk about how it's used in popular culture within rap, where rappers do use the term as sometimes of a term endearment. Sometimes they use it in a negative way, that's referring to a negative person within that race. And we could get into a whole discussion. But the issue is it right for the parent to watch a movie that has the F word, but it's wrong for a 14 or 15-year-old to hear a movie with that word? Now, obviously, younger children can't even process it. They just hear the word. They're going to repeat the word. You got to teach them, hey, that word is wrong. Now, they're still going to hear the word. They're going to hear all kinds of words as they live in this culture. So at some point, you're going to have to deal with the fact, even if you keep them away from it from an entertainment purpose, they're still going to hear the words. So I just want to, that's the question I sometimes have for Christians. Hey, my 15-year-old, you can't listen to that song. It's got a bad word. And then mom and dad watches a movie that says the bad word 27 times. Well, wait. So the daughter who's 14 can't listen to her favorite band because they use the F word, but mom and dad can watch a movie that has the F word in it 37 times. Hello? So is it right or is it wrong? Or is it the character is using the word, I'm not using the word, and I believe the word is wrong, and I believe the character in the story is utilizing language that I disagree with. Just like in a movie, think about it, just like in a movie, you can have one character kill another character, right? Are you, because you watching it, are you going to go kill? Or are you somehow giving a moral agreement that killing is okay? No, you're watching it, and I'm assuming you're thinking that the killing of the person in the movie is wrong. You may even actually cheer the killing of a character, which is, then that's how media can manipulate you. You're actually cheering the killing of people. All right, that sometimes can get you. But so, like, if they use a bad word, wrong. If they kill someone, okay. What? Hey, they committed adultery in the show, but they didn't show it. So it's okay. So are you saying adultery is okay? Like, what do you mean by that? So sometimes Christians get into weird, like, how they handle different things. But I just find it interesting. They're focusing on the F word and the S word. These are the two words. These are bad words. Don't use these words. Okay. I'm just curious. Are you saying they're inappropriate for a teenager between 13 and 17 to hear those words? Or are you saying it's immoral for all Christians to hear those words? Because this deals with Christians and culture. Is this an age thing or is this a moral thing? Is this a moral thing related to age or is this a moral thing related to Christianity? If it can be morally corrupting to a teenager, can it be morally corrupting to an adult? Now, at some point, let me just make it clear. If you're going to just say basically all these words are wrong, then there's just no point in owning a television. Just stop. Like, I don't care what you watch anymore. Network television, just, I'll watch some Netflix shows, New Amsterdam, The Resident, The Rookie. I can just think you got some language that'll be dropped in those shows. And those are network shows. They're not even your cable. You get to your cable network shows. Oh my goodness. You'll hear the F word. You'll have TV mature shows that'll be on USA or on some of the cable networks. So at that point, you just stop television. Stop television. Stop reading books. And if that's now, if you're going to do that, then we're getting into at least you're being consistent. At least I will applaud you to being consistent. I'm just curious, like they're going after these shows that are TV 14, they have this word. That's horrible. That's horrible. Okay, so let's keep our kids from hearing that word. Okay, now can mom and dad watch the show? That's a very important question.
Now, mama, daddy, the question is, if we are talking to our kids about what is acceptable for us, right? That we don't want, you think of Ephesians 4:29, we don't want any corrupt talk coming out of our own mouths. And so we try to encourage our kids that this is why we don't use these words, because we're going to be out and about. Our kids have heard cuss words, you know, and boy, what an uncomfortable question, you know, when, you know, your kid comes and asks you, what does that mean? And so there are things there's some things that you cannot control. And boy, you wish you could, you know, and so you have to answer those questions, and you want to do so from a bit.
It's not uncomfortable. You're glad they're asking the question. Thank you for asking me that question. I'm glad you want to know what that means. That's good. Yeah. And now it may be uncomfortable if they're very, very young and it's related to something regarding sex and you don't want to have that discussion yet. But I don't want it to, don't make it uncomfortable. Thank you. Anytime you got a question, come ask me. Come, let's talk about it. Yeah. That word gets used a lot. Well, that word's used to describe this and this. It may be uncomfortable depending on the age. After a certain age, who cares? Thank you. Come ask me anytime you've got a question. I want that level of communicate. Come to me. Ask me. All right. But please note, the scripture is forbidding you or me from allowing corrupt communication to proceed out of our mouth. Is it prohibiting you or me from hearing it coming from someone else's mouth in the form of storytelling? Now, I've been all over the place in my Christian life on this. When I was a young Christian, I was told that I could not listen to secular music because it had bad words. And they said it was wrong. And anytime I tried to argue, they said I was being worldly. So then I realized I could not win that argument with Christians. So then guess what I did? I came up with the rule then, okay, then any entertainment that contains a bad word is wrong. So then I just stopped no secular music, no secular television. I stopped everything. Well, then I realized I was the only Christian saying you can't watch movies that have bad words. So what it came down to is they loved that standard for my musical taste. They didn't like that standard for their television. And I never quite comprehended how that worked. I can't listen to Bruce Springsteen because he says a bad word, but I can watch a movie with 37 cuss words and I'm good to go. All right. Okay. Got it. Makes perfect sense. Okay.
Biblical basis. But boy, just plopping your kid down in front of something where that is just filling their minds and filling their hearts, that's something totally different.
Right.
You know, that's not hearing somebody out, you know, at a football game or hearing somebody out, you know, in the parking lot of the grocery store and you want to go over to them and give them a hug. You know, it's something totally different from that. And imagine that if we have 8 hours a day of our kids streaming this. Let me do this. Let me open the phone lines, get your take on some of the stuff that we've.
All right, and I apologize. I think there was a second that I was talking, and I think the mic may have been muted, and I apologize if that occurred. I hate when that happens, but if you're still with me, I just want to make sure I make this very clear that when we talk about these words, I raised this question. I'm going to raise it again in case it was missed. The issue is, are we saying these words are wrong for people of a certain age to hear, or is it just morally wrong for any Christian to hear, right? Because parents do this weird thing. Hey, you can't listen to that song because it's got a bad word, but I can watch a movie that's got 37 cuss words. I've been all over the place with this. When I was a teenager and became a Christian, I was told I can't listen to my music because it had bad words. So then I'm like, okay, I tried to argue and they said, that's worldly, that's ungodly, I'm not being a Christian. So then I'm okay, I won't listen to anything that has bad, I'll stop listening to all secular music because it supposedly has bad content. So now I'm going to apply that to all movies and TV shows. And guess what? I was the only one doing it and everyone thought I was crazy. So it sounded like the only time that rule applied is when it applied to music. Or the only time certain rules apply is when it applies to a person who's 14, but not when they're 22, 23, 24. So they still haven't given us the idea from a Christian perspective, what can I watch, what can I not watch? What's right and what's wrong? Where's the cultural standard? They haven't even told us how to engage this. We'll hear some of these phone calls really quick.
Talked about today, our brother Marty is over in Studio CC, 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. You can comment on anything that we've talked about today. Mandatory isolation, no money going to Planned Parenthood, yay. And then also Netflix and Expose, which really is sort of the focus of where I wanted to go today, because I'm often encouraging parents to be vigilant and to not give up. And look, and Will, you've been saying this has been such a burden of your heart that we don't waste this time, we don't waste this time. And so just because online streaming is going up, you don't have to be in that number.
Right.
You know, right? When the streams go marching in, you don't have to be in that number. Because what you're finding, at least based on this information, is that a lot of the content that at least our teenagers are streaming is really content that would make you blush. As an adult, it's content that would make you blush. It would make you say, man, you know. So anyway, and I commend the Parents Television Council, and I'm very grateful for the work that they do. And so, of course, they are calling on better standards and standards across the board. They're calling on regulations that would not just come from the people who are making the content and kind of have a vested interest in getting as many eyes on it as possible. So they lower the rating so that more people will be watching it.
They didn't lower the ratings. It says TV mature. What more do you want them to do? I don't understand what the disconnect is with this Christian radio program and opening up a Netflix account and looking at it. They haven't lowered the rating. It says TV mature. They did not lower it. Man, it's irritating that you can't get truth on Christian radio.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that the Parents Television Council is doing that. But can I say that while we fight for that, so while we hold these companies accountable, because that's what we exist to do, we want to say, no, we're not going to just roll over while you do this.
While they do what? Purdue. What are they doing? They've labeled it TV mature. What more do you want? You wanted to just remove it from the teen drama category and say, hey, we're going to have a different category for it? I mean, what do you want? Man, we're not going to roll over. We're not just going to roll over and take it. They're after us, man. They're trying to get us. We're being persecuted, man. They're trying to get our kids. What are we going to do? I don't know how we're going to live. It's so hard being a Christian in this mean, ugly world. Oh, my goodness gracious.
There was also an important work for us to do at home to be vigilant.
That's right.
Okay. If you never sign another petition, what are you doing at home to hold the line for protecting your family?
I don't sign petitions, so I guess I'm good to go.
And look, it takes work. If sometimes if your kids are too quiet, if they've disappeared, like Will and I will go do spot checks. What's everybody doing?
Right.
Routinely. We just know what each other is doing. Like Will will get up, and actually you get up more than I do. And man, I'm so grateful for you. It's like, it's like, hey, they're quiet. What's going on? Like, oh, hold.
Okay, they have nothing else of value to say. I don't know if they've had anything of value to say. So let me state it again. Yes, there's TV shows that may even be rated TV 14 that has language that you may not think is acceptable. Got it. All right. Now you have to make a determination if you're going to let your family watch it or not watch it. Not even into that. That gets into how your relationship with it. But here's the challenge. Are you saying you can't watch it because it's immoral? Or do you believe it's scripturally wrong to read or watch something that contains bad words? Do you believe it's morally wrong? If it's morally wrong, then it's morally wrong if you're 16 or if you're 47. Or do you believe it's morally wrong based off an age? If you believe it's based off an age, where do you get that scripturally? Where do you get the scripture that do not let children of a certain age hear certain words? Is that a scriptural idea, or is this a traditional idea, something that you are establishing? Now, make sure sometimes we can have our worldview that's not a biblical worldview. It's something that of a personal idea. You believe, hey, as a kid, you can't hear these words until you're a certain age, right? Or you can't watch certain content. Now, I understand you got sexual content. Well, that makes sense. The kid can't process it. They don't even understand sexuality yet. We can all agree that that's violence. How do you process between them understanding violence is in the story, but violence is not something I understand there can be some struggles here, but the thing is morally, if it's morally wrong, then it's morally wrong for the parent. And I just think sometimes this turns into the parent saying, you can't, I can. You can't, I can. You can't listen to it, I can watch it. You can't. Well, is it a moral thing or is this a parent thing? Like where's the biblical perspective on this subject? Now, I know I threw out a lot right there, but I'll stop. We went a lot longer than I wanted. I wanted you to hear all of this. Because one, it just shows you Christian radio misrepresenting an entire situation. Christian radio talking about force and regulation and pressure, just all this nonsense that I can't stand when this is what creates the culture war. Non-Christians hear this and like, wait. No, who are you? Who are you to push your morality on us? And then I don't want to push my morality on you. Well, I want to present the gospel to you. That's the difference. We want the culture to reflect Christianity. But if the culture isn't Christian, making them reflect Christianity just makes them bitter towards Christianity, and it creates a legalistic mindset that you will bend to the will of us. Christianity never operated that way. Jesus didn't go around going, hey, let's boycott, let's sign a petition, let's make these Romans act like us. Never did that. Peter doesn't do that. Paul doesn't do that. Nobody in the New Testament does that. Go and preach Jesus. They're going to live the way they want. Now we have to figure out how we're going to live. We're not going to sit there and try to make them, you better make content that we want. Why? And Christians should only make content that pleases atheists. Christians should only make content that pleases Muslims. Christians should only make content that pleases Satanists. Oh, we're going to offend them. I bet you they're not going to roll over and take it anymore. They're tired of Christians pushing their programming down their throat. Come on. All right. I could say a lot more, but I'll stop. Email me, newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. I know I feel like I need to clarify 50 points, but I'm going to stop. And if we need to talk about this again, well, I mean, we're still going to be talking about the church and culture and upcoming episodes because I got to finish that series. But I think we exhausted this to the best of my ability. All right. God bless.